we will be finding angle measures. For example 1, we are given a set of vertical angles. In these vertical angles, you now see an expression. So when you see that expression, you just have to know the rules. Vertical angles tell you that they're going to be congruent. And when I'm setting up an algebraic expression, I want to replace the congruent sign with an equal sign. So that would look something like this. 2x plus 3 will equal 4x minus 13. Because again, two intersecting lines that share the same vertex create what's known as vertical angles, and they are congruent. Congruent means equal. So now what I would do is just combine like terms. I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides so that I can remove the x's on that side. And then I'm going to add 13 on both sides, so that on one side I have my variables, on the other side I have my constants. So I have 16 is equal to 4 minus 2, which is 2x. And now when I divide both sides by 2, x is 8. So that's my first blank. And then it asks me to find the measure of angle HBJ. So in looking at that, they've given me the expression. All I need to do is substitute in for the x. So I'm going to, it's 4 times 8. This is where I'm getting that 8 from, minus 13. I'm looking at this. This is the angle that was given to me as an expression. And now when I simplify that, 4 times 8 is 32. And then 32 minus 13 is 19. So notice what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a degree symbol. Why did I do that? Because it's asking for the measure. Here it's just asking for x. So that simply means just substitute in. So I do not need a degree symbol for my x. Because these are vertical angles and I said they are congruent, I should expect to get the same degree measure. But let's test it. For angle CBE, we see that we have an expression 2, and we're going to replace that x with 8. Again, it's coming from there. And then we're adding 3 based off of what was given to us. Once we simplify that out, 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 3 is in fact 19. So we see that, yes, those were vertical angles. So now on to example 2. I have a linear pair, which is like when you have adjacent angles, in this case next to each other. That's a linear pair. But in addition to being a linear pair, I have two angles that add together to equal 180 degrees. That's known as supplementary angles. So we're asked to find the value of x. So we're going to do the same thing, except instead of setting it equal, we're going to set it equal to 180 degrees. So not equal to each other. So the way that looks is x plus 13. Again, I'm taking the information that's given, that's one angle, and then I'm going to add that to the other angle, which is 2x minus 7. And because it's supplementary angles, I know that those two angles have to add to equal 180. So now what you want to do is you want to combine your like terms. I have 2x and I have a positive x, and which means it's just 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3x, and now I have 13 minus 7, so I'm going to combine those. 13 minus 7 is positive 6, and all of that is set equal to 180. I want to get the x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides, and that's going to leave me with 3x is equal to 174. And now once I simplify that by dividing both sides by 3, I see that x is going to equal to 58. Again, I don't have to put a degree symbol here because I'm simply just replacing the x's that's shown in my expressions. But when I see a measure in front of my angle notation, that's when I need to put a degree symbol. So now I'm trying to find the measure of angle VYW. And that expression has x plus 13. So my x is now 58 plus 13 If I simplify that, 58 plus 13 is 71. And again, I want it as a degree. Now this time they will not be equal because we said it was going to equal 180 degrees when we added those two angles together. So the measure of angle WYZ this time is going to be 2 times that same x, which is 58, minus 7. And then once I simplify that, I end up with 109 degrees. If I were to add the 109 and the 71 together, I will see that that is in fact 180 degrees, which is the definition for adding two angles to equal 180 is the definition of supplementary angles. For example 3, I am again asked to find the value of x, but this time I have like a ton of different angles. I have, let me show them to you. I have a straight angle. If I add all those angles together, that's 180. I have complementary angles. So two angles added together will give me 90 degrees. I have vertical angles, two lines that intersect at the same and they meet at the same vertex. Those are vertical angles. And then I have a supplementary angles and a linear pair right here. It's a lot going on. So keep up with what you're working with as far as what type of angle, and that will help you to determine whether or not you're setting them equal to each other or setting it equal to 180. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start by trying to find the value of x. So therefore, what I'm going to do is look at this straight angle. That'll help me find my value of x. How? Because what I'm going to do is set that equal to 180. 2x plus, not plus, 2x minus 5 plus, it's understood that that angle represents 90 degrees. So I have to include that. 90 plus this other angle. So again, I'm looking for this straight angle, and that will help me find my x. So 3x plus 20. Now I'm going to set this equal to 180 degrees. Combining my like terms, I have 2x and 3x, which results in 5x. And then I have negative 5 plus 90, which is 85, plus 20, for a total of positive 105. And again, this is all set equal to 180. Now to get x by itself, I have to start removing things. So I'm going to subtract 105 on both sides. That leaves me with 5x is equal to 75. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 5 because that's what's stopping x from being by itself. And x then becomes 15. So for the value of x, I'm going to write 15 in there. The next blank asked me to look for the measure of angle MNP. So I just substitute in. So 2 times 15 minus 5. Notice I have a degree symbol. So I'm going to actually put that information in, and I have 2 times 15 is 30, and 30 minus 5 is 25 degrees. I already know that this is 90 degrees. So this is 25. And because it's a straight angle, it should equal 180. So I'm going to go ahead and find the next blank, which is the measure of angle QNR. Substituting for that x, I have a 15 plus 20. So 3 times 15 is 45 plus 20 is 65. And if you were to add all of those together, these angles together, again, that will equal 180 degrees. So now I'm asked to find the measure of angle RNS. Now I can do that several ways. The easiest way is to recognize that it's vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent, meaning they are the same measure. So if the measure of angle MNP is 25 degrees, so is this one. The measure of angle RNS is also 25 degrees. Or I could have looked at it as another straight angle and then try to find this information by taking 180, subtracting 90, which would have left me 90, and then subtracting 65. So subtracting what I know and subtracting the other known angle. If I did that, this would have ended up being 25. So there's more than one way to do it. So we know that this angle is 25 degrees as well as angle MNP. So the last angle that we're trying to find in this example is angle SNM. What I said earlier is this is a linear pair. It's a pair of angles on a line. And if I add those two together, they're going to give me 180 degrees because that's the definition of supplementary. So I am going to, the easiest way to do that one is to just say 180 degrees minus 25. And once you subtract that, what you would end up with is 155. So 155 degrees. Again, just to double check it, if you added it to the 25, you should actually end up with 180, and we do. So this is 155 degrees, and we have accounted for all of the angles that were shown in example 3. The last one, I just want to kind of change it up a little and put some words here to see if you understand what you're doing. Okay, so for example 4, we are given that angle C is complementary to angle A. That means that if I add those two angles together, they're going to equal 90 degrees. We're also given that angle A is supplementary to angle T. That means that if we add those two angles together, they're going to equal 180 degrees. And I'm also given information that's going to get me started, which is the measure of angle C. So the measure of angle C. And then I'm going to add it to the measure of angle A. And I know that it's going to be set equal to 90 degrees because it's a complementary angle. So I'm literally just substituting what I know. I know that the measure of angle C is 7x minus 1. I'm adding it to the other angle, 5x plus 7, and setting it equal to 90. My like terms on this side are 7x and 5x, which are 12x. And then negative 1 plus 7, which is positive 6, set equal to 90. Trying to get x by itself, but I have to move what's before and after first. So I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides because I'm trying to zero that out. This is now 12x is equal to 84. Dividing both sides by what's stopping x from being by itself, which is 12, leaves me with x is equal to 7. I was not asked to find x, but I do need it. I'm asked to find the measure of angle T. So now I know that the measure of angle A is supplementary to the measure, angle A is supplementary to angle T. What I know about measure of angle A now is that I can take that 5 and replace the x with the 7 that I just said, and then add 7 plus, for the measure of angle T, we know that those two are supplementary, which means they're going to add to 180 degrees. So now all I'm trying to do is find the measure of angle T. I don't know what it is, so let's just call it T, is equal to 180. If I simplify on this side, 5 times 7 is 35 plus 7 is going to give me 35 plus 7, which is 42, plus T is equal to 180. And now I want to subtract 42 on both sides. And that's going to leave me with T, or really the measure of angle T, is equal to 138 degrees. Right? Like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.
Subscribe.